Damn it. Welcome to Charity FC. Good morning, people. Welcome back to another episode of the Prefix for your preview for Atletico Madrid versus Chelsea in the Champions League knockout stages. A very, very, very big game for Chelsea. Obviously, I'm very, very disappointed with the result over the weekend against Southampton. 1-1 draw. Felt like a loss, honestly. The team didn't perform very well. It was one of the most lackluster performance I've seen under Thomas Tuchel, and possibly it reminded me of one of the last few performances we had under Frank Lampard, which is very, very, very laboured, very, very lethargic, slow, not direct, not productive. So many bad things in that game. So many players at fault, and so many things I want to say. So many players I want to blame, but Mason Mount was the best player on the pitch by a mile. By a mile. Um, he was excellent under Frank Lampard, and now under Thomas Tuchel, he's replicating that excellence, that hard work, which just we miss that energy, man. We miss that. Uh, he really cares, and he just really pushes himself during games to push for something more, something better, something more creative, something more concrete. And I see it, in the way he creates chances. There were a few chances for Alonso, there were a few chances for Reece James, there were a few chances for Tammy. Tammy obviously had a horrifying game, didn't really contribute much, and was subbed at halftime. The controversial part was the substitution of Callum Hudson-Odoi, who came on as a sub. He played for 30 minutes and then was subbed off uh, with 15 minutes left to go for Hakim Ziyech. Honestly, I don't consider this a big deal. Um, this happens in football. I mean, it happened to Leroy Sané at Bayern Munich as well. It happens to players who tend to have a bit of an attitude problem, and we know that Callum Hudson-Odoi does have that because it was there under Frank Lampard. We now see it continue under Thomas Tuchel as well. So I think Callum Hudson-Odoi will be starting the game against Atletico Madrid because Thomas Tuchel has a good relationship with him. He'll want to test out his character, test out his mentality and his focus to see how he reacts to this situation. And yeah, so coming to the Atletico Madrid game is definitely going to be the most toughest game of the season, possibly the toughest game of the last 2 or 3 seasons for Chelsea. I know we had the Bayern Munich game last season, but we weren't really ready for that game. It was a good chance to test out where we were as a team at that point. But right now, I think we have brought in a few players. We've started developing a philosophy. We started to knit together a few results. I think this game is much more, much more uh, carries much more weight than that game against Bayern Munich. And obviously, we got thrashed back then. Hopefully, we can have a better result this time. Atletico Madrid, lot of news coming out from their camp. They've lost a few players to injuries. 4 main starters are out due to injuries. One of them is Jimenez, their main defender. I think he was a Chelsea target at one point in the summer. Um, but Atletico Madrid over the last few games, I think the last 4 games had struggled to kind of finish teams off and to get results. They have been conceding a bit early. Of course, that 2-0 loss to Levante last game was possibly the tipping point. But Atletico Madrid are a different breed in the Champions League. They are a defensive unit, a very strong unit, who have been training under the same manager for years now. They understand what he wants from the team. The players know what he expects from them and how he wants them to play. Everything is thought about very well, and now they've added a booster in the form of Luis Suarez up front in their attack, who's bagging in goals left, right, and center for them. 16 goals this season. Um, so it's 20. I think 29 games. 29 games, I think. Yeah, which is absolutely insane for Luis Suarez. We all thought maybe he would decline, but it doesn't seem like that at all. They also have João Felix, and they have a bunch of very very young talent, and also very experienced veterans and professionals in that team, including the likes of Saul, Koke. Um, they also have Torreira, I think. Uh, so it's a very very tough game for Chelsea. One of the toughest games of the season, if not the toughest. Um, Atletico probably are favourites to win the Champions League this season alongside Manchester City and Bayern Munich. So this is Chelsea's stance probably to. I don't know if it's possible for us to get the win, honestly, because after looking at us playing under Thomas Tuchel, obviously we cannot deny the fact that Thomas Tuchel is a tactical magician, and the way he sets up his team is always based on what his opponent's weaknesses are. However, we have not been able to be ruthless and aggressive and dominant in games enough to beat teams convincingly. Um, my my thought going into this game is that both teams seem to be at a crossroads in their path to the Champions League football and to just playing better football. They both are playing unconvincingly, but one team has experience, defensive experience, while the other has not so much experience. So I think that this is probably going to come down to maybe a set piece or a moment of magic. Honestly, it's gonna. I feel it's gonna end either 1-0 or 1-1 or something like that. I do hope we can get an away goal. I do not think we might win. I do not think we'll win the game, but uh, who knows? It's football. Who knows? We can cause the biggest upset in Champions League football this season with this result. With that in mind, uh, I have gone with um, a lineup that kind of reflects this game plan, reflects uh, the the meritorious nature of each player and how they've contributed throughout Thomas Tuchel's time at Chelsea. So let's dive into the lineups now. The formation I've gone with is a 3-4-1-2. It is a formation I went with last time as well. I think this is a very reliable formation. It allows Mason Mount to do what he needs to do and have the freedom to do what he needs to do. Is to show that energy, to create opportunities, to run into half space, to turn on the half turn, and to release the ball for people like Olivier Giroud and Timo Werner. So without any further ado, let's dive into the lineups. In goal, I have gone with the one and only Edouard Mendy. He's the number one keeper for us. Thomas Tuchel has come out and said it. There's no debating this, and it's good we have that in place. Edouard Mendy is on his way to keep a 11th clean sheet of the season, if he manages that against Atletico, which I do think. I think he has the talent and he has the capabilities of doing that. Obviously, a big couple of weeks for all our players and for Edouard Mendy coming up against Manchester United again in a couple of days. In defense, I have gone with a back three of Cesar Azpilicueta, Andreas Christensen, and Antonio Rudiger. I wanted to go for um, Zuma in the middle, but after that game against Southampton, I'm a bit skeptical about it. I feel like he's not the best player to have in the middle of a back three because he's not technically sound. I feel Christensen is much more of a passer, build-up player, uh, and I see Zuma more of a destroyer kind of Sol Campbell kind of player. Moving on to the wing backs, I please, Thomas, please give Chilwell a chance. Please give him a chance. Alonso was pathetic that game. pathetic. He didn't offer anything. Honestly, seeing him chase back for in the defensive transitions just trigger my anxiety. I feel like having Chilwell in that position would give us much more freedom going up front and in defensive transitions as well. He has the pace, he has the recovery, uh, he has the recovery pace, he has the intelligence to make smart decisions and the composure in tight situations, which we would need in plenty against Atletico Madrid. On the right hand side, I have gone with Callum Hudson-Odoi. I do think that Thomas Tuchel will want to test out Callum Hudson-Odoi and his mentality and his attitude after being subbed off as a substitute in the previous game. I think they have a good relationship. I think they understand each other well and what they want from each other. And so I think Thomas Tuchel will want to test it out and see how well Callum Hudson-Odoi will do in deep waters. In midfield, I have gone with the partnership of Jovicic. You all know that I love this partnership, and there's obviously a bromance going and a bromance brewing there. But I was a bit tempted to play Kante, if I'm being very honest with you guys. I was tempted to play Kante and Kovacic in that midfield, but I feel like Kante has not had a decent run of games yet to get back to his to what we know as his best. Okay. So, with that in mind, I've gone with Jovicic. Kovacic obviously didn't have his best game against Southampton, probably one of his worst games this season against Southampton. Jorginho obviously came on much later on in the game. Kante had a decent game, but I don't think he made enough angles to find him for the defenders to find him in space or to receive a pass and to turn and to release it as soon as possible. I feel like Jorginho does that uh, extremely well. That is what he is meant to do. He we oftentimes take his role at Chelsea for granted. He makes space for himself. He finds those angles where defenders can easily pass the ball to him without much effort, without having to think too much about it, and he very quickly distributes the ball, and that's such an underrated trait to and quality to have, especially in top level teams where you don't have time to think about what your next pass is going to be like. This is an extremely crucial quality to have, and especially in a game of such a high caliber such as this game, I think this quality of Jorginho's will be extremely useful. Now moving on to the number 10 that I have. Obviously, I mean, anyone could predict this. It has to be Mason Mount. He was the best player on the pitch for by a mile against Southampton, and I do hope that he brings that same energy, that same grit, that same brutalness, the same aggression into this game, because that's what we need. We need him to turn on this. We need him to turn on this half turns to find space, to find this accurate passes for um, the strikers, who I'm going to get to in a moment. But Mason Mount definitely makes it into this team. I think he slots into any Chelsea team right now. Um, Moving on to the forwards, I have gone with a striker partnership of Olivier Giroud and Timo Werner. Olivier Giroud is obviously someone we can count on, and obviously we saw that in the group stages of this competition against Sevilla. Olivier Giroud started that game and scored 4 goals for us, very big goals for us, and he's always been a person we could rely on at any point in time, and who was ready to deliver as soon as he has the chance. Timo Werner has just started to find his form. He's obviously had a tough start to his career in the Premier League. Um, in his words, he's been brought down to earth. You know, Timo Werner had a bunch of labels attached to him when he arrived at Chelsea. World class striker, goal machine, or whatever. It, it 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 puts people in a mindset, in a different kind of mindset, when you start to believe those labels. I think it's been a good experience for him to have learned, been through these hard times, because hard times make tough people, man. And Timo Werner's growing tougher and tougher with each game, and I'm sure that a game against Atletico Madrid uh, would be would be a brilliant confidence booster if he can grab a goal. So that is my lineup for Atletico Madrid versus Chelsea in the Champions League knockouts. Now, let's get into the predictions for this game. As usual, the links for the Fifth Stand app for the Play Store and the Apple Store are down in the description below. So all you Chelsea fans, it's time you get involved. I don't know what you're waiting for if you haven't downloaded the app yet. They have leaderboards and you can compete with one another. So what's the harm? So let's just dive into it, right? Now, like I said, this game is set up to be pretty much a stalemate. It's going to be a stalemate because one team is struggling to score goals, one team is excellent at not conceding goals. In the efforts to not concede, I feel like they sacrifice a bit in the attack, and so I feel like that's going to cause the stalemate, and that's why it's going to end 1-1. So that's the prediction for me. Who's going to score first for Chelsea? It has to be Olivier Giroud. I think he's a big player and a big game player. He's going to be the one to step up and put the ball in the net for Chelsea. In which minute will the first Chelsea goal be scored? That's a tough one. I do think we'll take a long time to figure out Atletico Madrid and to find loopholes in their system, and so I'm going to say around 50 minutes or so. How many shots will Chelsea have overall? I don't think we're going to have many. I think we probably have like five or six. Yeah, 5 or 6. Out of the 5 or 6, I think we'll even have like maybe 3 on target. Yeah, 3 on target. What overall possession will Chelsea have? I don't know. This is a bit tough. I'm gonna go a bit more even with this. I'm gonna go with 55 to. Actually, let's say 57 because I do think that we might dominate it. So, 57% possession. So yeah, that's it for the Fifth Stand app. A very big game for Chelsea fans. A very big game. It's something that we've looked forward to for a while now to test our qualities against one of the top teams in the world right now, and we obviously want to be among this top tier and the top echelon of world class teams in the world right now. Maybe PSG, Juventus, all these teams are up there. A lot of teams are slacking off the season though. Barcelona and all the big Real Madrid, all these really big clubs, Liverpool, are all struggling this season. This is a very open-ended season. I think that if we needed to cause an upset, I think this is the season for that upset. This is the time, and I feel like we have some of the players who have won this. Cesar Azpilicueta, our captain, I feel like he's worked so hard. And I feel like he deserves a Champions League, another Champions League trophy before he leaves Chelsea, maybe in the next season or two. But yeah, a very big moment. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm also very excited. Obviously, it's gonna be a 1:30 fixture because no one cares about Indian Standard Time. So it's gonna be a long night for me, but hopefully it'll be all worth it. And if we can grab a away goal or even get a win, that would be a good day in the office for us. So if you guys like the content, if you are enjoying the kind of content I'm putting out, do drop a like down below because it really helps the channel. And if you want to do the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit this post notifications so that you never miss another upload from me. Stay tuned for the Goalpost podcast because another very special episode is coming up for you guys. I've got a few guests on, a lot of discussions about the Premier League and Liverpool and Spurs, and so who don't want to miss that. So I'll see you guys on the flip side.